What if I told you ancient brewers made beer and mead without ever adding yeast? No yeast packets, no lab cultures, no pH meters, no hydrometers, no refractometers, no glass carboys, no stainless steel fermenters or anything like that. They didn't even know yeast existed. And yet it worked. The secret wasn't magic. It was wild yeast, alive, invisible, and everywhere. It lived on the skin of fruits, in raw honey, on grain, and in the air, and clinging to the tools they used every day. When ancient mead makers and brewers mixed their ingredients and left them out, fermentation just happened. Nature took over. But how do we know that's true? Because yeast wasn't discovered till the 1600s, and no one understood fermentation until the 1800s when Louis Pasteur figured it out. For thousands of years, people made alcohol using microbes they couldn't see or explain. And the archaeological record backs this up. Brewing tools like clay pots, wooden barrels, and animal horns have been found from Sumeria to Scandinavia. And because those materials are porous, they trap the yeast from previous batches. And when reused, they created a microbial memory, kickstarting the next batch without anyone knowing why it worked. Chemical analysis on those containers found evidence of alcohol, organic acids, and even preserved yeast DNA. And in 2018, scientists in Israel scraped yeast cells from 3,000-year-old Egyptian beer jars. They revived them and brewed with them. The yeast was still alive, and what they found was a mixed fermentation. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It's the same workhorse yeast we still use today, but so are wild strains like Brettanomyces, known for funky, earthy flavors, lactic acid bacteria, which bring a sour, tangy character, was also there. I'm going to butcher all these names, so let me just say it anyway. They also found yeast like Saccharomyces and Pediococcus. These yeast starters help kick off fermentation before stronger strains take over. Even Torulaspora sometimes appeared, adding fruity esters, and Pediococcus, a type of lactic acid bacteria, was part of the mix too. This wasn't a clean, single strain ferment. It was a wild living ecosystem. And that chaos created incredible flavor. Ancient mead makers and brewers weren't scientists. They were just craftspeople. They didn't sterilize, they reused, and over time, by simply repeating what worked, they domesticated wild yeast. And here's the part that still blows my mind. You can still do this exact same thing today. You don't need lab equipment, you don't need pure yeast packets. You can brew wild just like they did. So how do you get wild yeast? You can literally catch it from your environment. It's already on raw honey, fresh fruit, grape skins, even your own wooden spoons and buckets. To capture it, all you need is a clean, chlorine-free water and a sugar source like honey, fruit, or malt. Let it sit out, loosely covered, and at room temperature. In a few days, it will start bubbling, and that's your wild starter. If you want something more predictable, but still natural, there are commercial wild blends from White Labs, Omega Yeast, Yeast Bay, and others. These often include Brettanomyces, Saccharomyces, and bacteria like Lactobacillus and Pediococcus. You can even explore cultural traditions. As I talk about in other videos, in Ethiopia, mead makers and brewers make Tej, a honey wine fermented with a bittering herb called Gesho. Gesho leaves and twigs carry a wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria. No packets, no measurements, just raw ingredients and time. However you do it, wild fermentation gives you something no lab strength can replicate. Flavor that's truly one of a kind. A living reflection of your ingredients, your tools, and your environment. If you're more curious, there's a lot of resources out there, and I could do another video on a deeper dive. Just comment, and I'll try to do it on one of the videos coming up. I also put together a free ebook that walks you through my fermentation process step by step. It's simple, beginner friendly, and completely free. You'll find it in the description or the pinned comment. And if you're serious about making better mead, hit that subscribe button and stick around. I wish I had these resources when I started out. If you want to see exactly what mead making gear I use, that list is linked below as well. And most of it is easy to grab on Amazon. I walk you through every step, from yeast selection, nutrient timing, and flavor building. And the exact process I still use today. Check out the next video or playlist right over here to level up every part of your mead making process, from technique to unforgettable flavor. Thanks for watching, and have fun making mead.